Is coffee vegan? This question may sound really funny to some people at first. But, when examined in depth, we can understand that there is something to consider regarding the entire process of some types of coffee till it reaches us in a cup. Before we get started with today's video, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. That way you won't miss out on any of our regular uploads. Actually, the well-known fact is that coffee is roasted beans obtained from the coffee plant. At a glance, we see that there is no animal or animal byproduct involved here. But, uncertainties and problems arise when we contemplate the entire process from the moment the coffee plant is planted, its growth, extraction of coffee beans, and how it is packed to be sent to the market. While most coffee is vegan, we say this because not all coffee can be vegan-friendly by its process. And we will bring you facts to prove this later in this video. So, in a nutshell, not all coffee can be vegan. Which coffee is not vegan? Since we stated that not all coffee is vegan, there are reasons why some types of coffee are not vegan-friendly. The doubt is obviously not on its origin but on the process. Due to the methods used in processing coffee, it can turn out not to be vegan. The factors can include: Number 1. The method of cultivation also applies to industrial coffee farmers. Number 2. Use of fertilizers. Number 3. Process of coffee bean derivation. Number 4. Packaging used to be sent to the market. Coffee cultivation is basically done in two methods. The conventional mode of coffee cultivation is called the shade-grown method. In this method, coffee trees are allowed to grow in a more natural procedure, under a forest sunshade. The other is the sun-grown method, where coffee trees are opened up to grow under full sun day. Sun-grown method was introduced to the farmers expecting to get higher yields and higher profits. However, the data shows that this method does more damage to the ecosystem, involving acres of deforestation. This has attracted the attention of many vegans who think that it is against their vegan ethics. Another possibility of some coffee not being vegan-friendly is the pesticides they use when they cultivate the trees. Moreover, conventional coffee farmers use animal byproducts like feces, bone meal, or blood meal as fertilizers. In addition to these, the packaging of some types of coffee may also have animal byproducts like animal-based gelatin used in adhesives. So, vegans avoid drinking conventional coffee, which indirectly includes animal byproducts and is not animal-friendly. Kopi Luwak coffee. Kopi Luwak, which is also identified as civet coffee, is the most expensive coffee in the world. This type of coffee has created a controversy among worldwide coffee fans, including vegans. And, this type of coffee is definitely not for vegans. Kopi Luwak coffee process is what makes it not vegan-friendly. The processing of this coffee directly involves an animal known as the civet cat. Manufacturers who engage in Kopi Luwak production feed these civet cats the coffee cherries and wait until they are digested. Bean derivation happens once these civets defecate the consumed coffee cherries. The people who are involved in this process collect the coffee beans passed out with other fecal matter of these civets. On top of everything, Kopi Luwak production, which initially started as a conventional method by which they randomly collected these beans from these animals' fecal matter, has recently converted into intensive farming, which goes against animal protection. The social data we collected clearly shows that these innocent animals are locked up inside battery cages and are forcefully fed with coffee cherries. Once they are brutally caught and traded to these manufacturers, civets are imprisoned and grievously stripped away from their natural habitat and family. Furthermore, these data show that wild civets are captured and shockingly kept inside these unhygienic cages to spend most of their lives. This paves the way to deteriorate their health condition, making them vulnerable to infectious diseases, which has the potential to welcome new extremely harmful diseases which can also affect human beings. Thus, in terms of this entire process, we unquestionably witness that it extremely goes against the philosophy of the vegan community. And, we see that many vegan organizations fight against the animal cruelty generated by the manufacturers of coffee processes like Kopi Luwak. What is vegan coffee? Once you analyze all the information we have presented in the sections above, your next question may be how to choose vegan coffee. When it comes to the phrase vegan, it is evident that a particular product that vegans consume should be 100% free from animals or animal byproducts. Consequently, coffee that can be consumed by vegans should not undergo any of the processes we mentioned on top. The coffee they drink should be grown organically. This means that coffee should not be cultivated using animal byproducts, and fertilizers and pesticides should not be used in them. Plus, coffee trees should be grown under the shade-grown method and should come to the store in 100% vegan packaging. And, also, it should be coffee made from vegan coffee beans that are not involved in processes like kopi luwak. If any type of coffee has the ability to meet these standards, vegans can be sure that it is vegan coffee by the process. However, coffee cannot be vegan just because they agree on vegan measures in terms of the process. The creamers, milk, or other additives used in coffee can sometimes contain animal-based products. Therefore, vegans should be concerned when drinking coffee from shops. Can I drink coffee on a vegan diet? According to the details we provided above, you can see that coffee can be a part of the vegan diet when met with vegan-friendly standards. Once you are sure the coffee bean itself is vegan, there are plenty of dairy-free or plant-based creamers or milk to choose from if you are not much of a black coffee lover. However, vegans should be thoughtful when using certain non-dairy creamers since not all non-dairy creamers are vegan. But, vegans are on the safer side to using plant-based milk. Here is a list of plant-based, non-dairy kinds of milk that you could use to flavor your vegan coffee. Number 1. Oat milk. This has a creamy taste and a smooth texture, which can blend easily. Number 2. Coconut milk. You can go coconutty with coconut milk in your coffee. Its rich flavor and high fat content make a perfect cup of vegan coffee. Number 3. Soy milk. This has a creamy and smooth texture which is also readily available and much more neutral in taste. Some soy milk tends to curdle, so the best solution is to use it warm. Number 4. Hemp milk. Vegans can use this milk alternative if you like a slight vegetal or nutty flavor in your coffee. It has a thin texture and dissolves easily. Number 5. Cashew milk. Cashew milk has a slightly sweet taste which will add a perfect flavor to your coffee. Number 6. Rice milk. This has a more watery texture and fails to foam your coffee due to the less protein content. Rice milk has a neutral taste and is not creamy in texture. Number 7. Almond milk. This milk creates silky foams in your cup of coffee and has a nutty flavor. Almond milk too has the potential to curdle, so do not use cold milk on hot coffee. Number 8. Pea milk. Pea milk is smooth in texture and tastes neutral, and does not taste like peas after all. How to order vegan coffee at any coffee shop. In recent times, we see that many coffee shops offer vegan coffee, which includes plant-based milk and vegan creamers. However, if you are doubtful or could not get to a place that does not have dairy-free coffee, the next best option is to order yourself a black coffee after confirming it is made of vegan coffee beans. Also, be watchful of the sweeteners they add to your coffee since most of them may contain honey. So, carry your own vegan creamer or a sweetener if it is possible when you go out. Still, the best thing is to inquire with the barista and check what ingredients are being used in your coffee. Especially if you are comfortable with 1 or 2 flavors of milk, it would be best to check what they use. If you carry milk with you, take the ones that will not curdle with hot coffee. In addition, as good news, industrial coffee producers and well-reputed brands have started to introduce vegan coffee pods. You can try them at home just like you are enjoying a cup of dairy-free coffee at the shop. Our final cup of coffee. On the contrary to most information available on the internet, you see that most types of coffee are vegan, while some are not. Therefore, if you are vegan and also a coffee lover, henceforth, you will need to be picky when choosing coffee that should be in your cup. In fact, coffee types like kopi luwak can genuinely go against the ethical means of vegans as it has the direct involvement of an animal. Moreover, conventional coffee, which is not organic, and coffee that is not grown under the terms of vegan agriculture will not meet the standards of vegans. We hope that this video quenched your thirst to learn the truth about whether coffee is vegan and guided you to pick vegan coffee to your own cup and when you are at the coffee shop. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.